Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to WEDF Inside the Ropes. This is episode 4. This is the voice of the WEDF, your interviewer, interviewing someone who's known for his interviews. It feels weird being on the other side of this, actually being the host, and he's the one answering my questions. Introduce yourself. It's Smokey.
What's up, everybody? It's Smokey and this motherfucker. I am back. I'm not back in WEDF yet, but I'll be back soon enough. I can't say when it is. I'll probably answer a little bit of hints here and there, but I can't really say because of contracts and everything else. But it's good to be here.
Keep it top secret, you know.
Yeah.
So, what does it feel like being the one who's being interviewed rather than being the interviewer?
Well, the difference between being an interviewer and being interviewed, I noticed, because I get to talk to all kinds of different people and get all kinds of knowledge. But the difference between being an interviewer and being an interviewee is I got to answer questions rather than ask them. And it don't really matter to me which way it is, because regardless if it's me talking to the other person or the person talking to me, it's basically the same thing, and that's basically how I built my career anyway. So it's pretty basic. So I feel at home either way. So
all right, so we're gonna get to one of our first questions here. Is that when you signed to WEDF back in, I believe it was 2008, all you were was a commentator. Now, when you were commentating, you were actually beginning your CAW in-ring career over in XWE and RCW. Yep. Did you ever think about competing in the WEDF at the time when you started commentating?
I really didn't think. To be honest with you, I really didn't think there was a possibility in it. The owner, Frank Dawg, gave me a shot, and I just jumped at the commentating part, and I got some ideas thrown my way. And Vladimir Kowolf, I remember one episode, I can't remember which one it was, and
episode 9 SmackDown. It was some 6-man tag in which he was in. You called him a Russian idiot.
Yeah, I called him a Russian idiot because he was acting like an idiot, and he was a macaroni head, and I'm known for calling people out. I don't care if people like it or don't like it. I don't give a fuck, and you know that. Everybody else knows that. So, and regardless if I want to be a face or if I'm a tweener or whatever, I'm real. And if somebody don't like it, then I can't really, I can't please everybody. So, I didn't like what he was doing at the time. So, and I feel grateful for that because it gave me a career in WEDF. And when I went on, and we Vladimir Kowolf, me and him battled for a long time. I
even almost broke your neck.
Yeah, I don't know. My neck's been broken so many times in the past few years. I'm surprised I even got anything holding up my neck by now.
Well, it's not really been broken, really. You were lucky to have some breaks on that neck. Like lucky breaks without having it being broken, like Edge style or Stone Cold Steve Austin style.
Yeah, it could be worse. I certainly lucked up that's for sure.
But anyway, to our next question is when you finally got in the ring with Vladimir Kowolf, it was last resort. What in your mind were you thinking of what you were going to do to Vladimir Kowolf?
Well, I knew I got into his head, and all the stuff that was going on over the past year or so in that feud, we got pretty heated, and I got hurt, and there was some acid thrones all over the place, and I just felt like going into that match, I knew he was going to be attacking me using his power. So I just felt
at that point, Kowolf was also a 2-time United States champion, while you were a 1-time U.S. champion. We'll get to that in a little bit, but continue on.
But yeah, I just felt like, if I use my quickness and I use my because I'm basically known for my good in-ring ability and my brawling ability. But I felt like if I didn't stay moving, that I wouldn't win that match because with all I talked a lot of shit about Vladimir Kowolf, but he is a very talented wrestler. He was a very talented wrestler, and he still is. But I felt like if I went out there and I put everything into it, I could beat him. And I went out there, and that's exactly what I did, and I felt good about it because if I mean he was giving me everything, and that one thing nobody don't know until they get in the ring with him. He's tough. You gotta be on your game to knock him down, keep him down for a count of three. So uh,
Exactly.
yeah, you gotta keep on him. You can't taunt. If you taunt, that'd be your worst mistake. I've learned that over the years because I'm guilty of it a lot, of getting my ego in the way and doing certain things. But I learned over the years you got to concentrate on your goals, and if you do that, then you'll be successful anywhere you go.
Yeah. Now, before that feud with Kozlov, I believe you were in a fatal four-way at the second collision. You were in the ring with the likes of Osha Jax and um, Vladimir Kozlov. And who was that fourth guy? Was it Danny Jackpot, I believe?
It was Danny Jackpot. Yeah.
Yeah. But you actually won that United States Championship by getting the last lap over all three of them. What was going through your mind before Brett Michaels came in and took that title from you when you won the U.S. title?
Well, whenever I went up and hit the acid splash, I felt like it was I hit it the perfect time, and I was like, as soon as I
You
hit
even
it,
knocked Osha Jax over during that.
yeah, I felt it because he hit my arm when I was going down, but I felt like I hit it the right time, and I was like, I knew it as soon as I hit it that I got the match because I seen everybody else was on the ground, so I knew I had it. Uh, as for after the match, I remember the last thing I remember before Brett Michaels came out was I was holding the belt, and the next thing I know, I get last minute news that I have to fight right now, and you got to think that was a long. Brutal match. There's a bunch of talented wrestlers, and you got to look at Osha Jax now compared to where he was then. But he's basically one of the top dogs in WEDF now. Back
Yeah,
then,
it
back
was
then he was
it was it was Dave Morrison basically.
yeah, and but he was still talented. He was just trying to find his way and everything else. And of course, Danny Jackpot, me and him have our own differences, but he's a good wrestler, and I respect that in him and everybody else in the ring because they all know how to they got their own special kind of ability in the ring, different kind of expertise in the ring, as per se. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what makes it great. That's why I love going out to the ring, though. You can go, especially in them type of matches, because you never know what's going to happen. You just got to act on the instinct. Because if you can get in the zone and like I did in that hit that acid splash, this I just went on instinct. I didn't think about it. I just did it. If I missed it, it would have probably cost me the match. But I'm all about risk and reward. There's a risk involved, but there's a reward too. So I feel, regardless if I win or lose, at least I took the chance and didn't just sit there and, you know, let
On
it pass
EC,
by.
on ECC, not ECCW, on One Night Stand, anything can happen really. Like not One Night Stand, but Collision, anything can happen really.
Oh
You've
yeah.
seen what happened in those crazy battle royals, you know, where swerves would happen or there'll be no swerves.
Oh, you can never tell in them type of events because, especially in collision type of events back then, there was so many different kinds of different people coming out, and you would never know who at any given time who would show up. That's like as I said, I didn't even know about the whole Bret Michaels thing till it happened, and I was basically beat down and I thought I won the title, and I
It's
and
like when the superstar cashed in Money in the Bank, really.
yeah. But it happens that way. I can't, I can't make up excuses to why I lost. But all I can say is, at least I went in there and I put on the show for everybody, and I gave it my all. So I ain't got nothing to be ashamed of. I went out there.
Right. I mean, during that collision match, and then at like during the Call King of the Ring tournament, you were actually blaming the fans for your failures and became a whole different person. Can you explain that persona?
Well, it was kind of tricky back then because I was a lot younger back then, and you gotta think though. I felt, everybody, everybody, especially since I got a big ego and I got a big temper because I'm Southern, and just like Ocean Jacks, we both got tempers, so we tell it like it is, and if we feel like we didn't done wrong, we're just gonna say it without thinking. So I felt like they was all cheering for El Jefe, and I ain't got no problem with the guy, but I just felt like that everybody was disrespecting me and disrespecting everything I worked for. But in reality, I was just being an ass, and I could be that way too. I was being an ass, major ass to a lot of people, and I look back on it, and I got to say, I, I'm that's just the way I am. Sometimes I, I like to talk crap, but I can back it up. That's just the thing. If I say something, I go out there and I do it. I
Right.
don't, I don't run away from no fight. If somebody wants to fight, I'll fight them regardless of how I feel about the fans or how I feel about a certain superstar. If somebody wants to fight me anytime, any place, anywhere, I'll fight them right then. And regardless of how I act or how if I'm an asshole or whatever, if somebody talks shit about me in WEDF, I'll be like, okay, let's settle it in the ring. That's my domain. Let's go. If you beat me, you beat me.
Right. Now at that point though, your attitude actually started gaining you a little bit more success. You were actually in world title contention, playing against the likes of Matt Hardy, MVP, Edge, Rey Mysterio, and many others. Did you think at that time that you were good enough to win the World Heavyweight Championship?
Well, I was getting I would be crazy if I didn't say I did a little bit think I could have won because I had so much momentum going to that point. I had quite a few victories after I came out of that King of the Ring debacle, but I felt like if I can go out there and just block out everybody because everybody was giving me hell. All the commentators didn't like me, and there was all kinds of controversy surrounding why I
You,
was acting the way I was acting.
you felt kind of disrespected, really, right?
Yeah, because back then, especially because I would just do I felt like I go out there and I give it my all, and I I expected everybody else to get behind me because I always did everything for them, and I felt kind of like somebody slapped me in the face. You don't like nobody slapping you in the face. And I felt like everybody just turned on me, and I just took all that anger and I just used it against everybody I faced, and just to say that did I deserve to be? Did I think I could win the world title? Back then, I think my performance in that match showed how prepared I was. I wasn't really thinking straight at that time. It showed in that match. I disappointed in myself because I went into that match thinking I was ready, and in actuality I was far from ready because you gotta think them are top tier wrestlers going for the title, and you going out there for your first time going after a major title like that,
Yeah.
and you thinking you all the shit and everything, and you go out there and you bite off too much you can chew. But I went out there, regardless if as I said before, regardless if I win or lose, I'm gonna go out there. You know, if I lose, I just lose. I just had to go out there to prove a point that I ain't gonna just let nobody.
You're not gonna be a pushover.
No, I never am no pushover. You know that.
Right.
I always been that way, and I always got criticized because I always spoke my mind. And some people, the fans, regardless if it's the fans or it's anybody else, I, I had a bunch of things going on around that time, and I just felt, and then all that stuff happened, and I had some contract issues, and I felt like I had to get away for a little bit. I had to clear my head and before I can come back to WEDF. I felt like I was way over the line. I exploded a bunch, way more than I normally would, because I'm normally more respectful when it comes to everybody. When it comes to everybody outside and backstage, you know, I'm always more talkative to everybody. I always like to learn from everybody. Because I feel if you learn from everybody, then you can adapt that into your mindset when you're in the ring with somebody.
Right. But you actually had 2 world title matches you involved in. You were involved in the survival of the fittest in that elimination chamber. What was it like competing in the elimination chamber, which is arguably the most brutal match in wrestling history?
Ooh, that I have to say that's one of my top matches in my career and most brutal matches in my career, and I've been through a lot of matches and of them top matches, and I got to say my first major title chance, I got to say that I just don't know. I can't. I lost so much memory that night because I got my head smashed, and but I felt I felt like I I learned a lot after that. I felt like I didn't have that much experience in them top matches back then, and going against all them people in that match, I felt like I felt my mindset going into it was like, okay, um, go in there and do what you do, and regardless of what happens, just try to stay in there as long as possible, and just try not to get hurt too bad. And I just went in there, and as I said, I lost so much. I lost so much mind in that match. I lost so much blood. It just, but I don't regret it.
Now, there was a shocker in that match where early in the night, MVP actually vacated the United States Championship and was actually injured in the world title match in like a only chance match. And it's then Matt Hardy when he was the champion, and Shelton Benjamin, Edge, and Christian. What was going through your mind when the MVP was the replacement for an injured Mr. Kennedy?
Well, it kind of shocked me a little bit because I wouldn't expect. I had all my priorities set on Mr. Kennedy because I really didn't get no updates about anything. I was just concentrating on before the match, just getting ready and get my mindset right because I knew it was a big chance for me. And whenever you get a world title shot, you try to keep yourself focused as much as possible. You know, you want to go into the match and you want to keep your mind on the goal without getting your ego in it and trying to do it extra. Because I'm mostly known for going extra mile when I'm doing things. So I felt if I could not let my ego get a hold of me, I would have lasted longer in that matchup. But I was young and I was dumb, but I had too much. I felt like I had too much heart back then because I didn't think before I did things.
Right.
But there's a lot of good people in that matchup.
Right.
But for MVP, I didn't think he deserved to be in the match. To be honest with you, because
he was just whining and complaining, really.
Yeah, and I went out there and regardless if people hated me or whatnot, I went out there and I earned a match. Regardless of what I came out there and I said, but I backed my talk up before that match, and I earned my match.
despite whether the fans really liked it or not.
Yeah, and I really, to this day, I still say I don't give a fuck because I'm motherfucking Smokey, and some people like it, some people like me, some people don't, and I learned over the years, I just gotta accept it. You know, people gonna hate regardless, so I just go out and do my thing, regardless win or lose, draw, whatever. Um, but I just feel like back then I didn't really deserve to be in that position, to be honest with you, because I didn't know a lot. I just, I knew what I knew from this my training ground, which is different than everybody else's because everybody else got different kinds of styles. My style was just straight brawling and high flying and taking a risk and without thinking, and it, I was just basically freestyling it when I was in the ring, and and that's a good thing that I'll probably talk about during this interview. I'll probably wait to let you ask another question, but I'll probably get into that a little bit in a little bit.
Well, after the survival of the fittest, you were actually competing again for the World Heavyweight Championship at the Royal Reckoning in a triple threat, which is then changed to a fatal four-way, thanks to Vicky Guerrero saying that Edge was being involved in that match. What was going through your mind then when Edge was inserted in the match when MVP was the champion defending there against you and Matt Hardy and Edge?
I felt like I got a lot of respect for Edge, but I kind of it kind of pissed me off because I worked so hard to train for that matchup. I studied both them guys, and I was ready for both them guys. I wasn't ready for Edge. Edge was not in my priority list. He was far from it. I was not concentrated on him, and things happened, and he got me, and I can't do nothing about it. I lost, and and that's that.
Sorry about that.
It's
But
cool.
anyway, he got everyone in that match, really. The ultimate opportunity struck again. Now, at
Yeah,
that point, Danny Jackpot won that Royal Reckoning match. You were looking to become World Heavyweight Champion. Of course, I think you might know where this is going. At Survivor of the Fittest, Danny Jackpot was ran over by a car. Now, if you were in the spot that Kurt Angle was in, and you won the World Heavyweight Championship, would have you had done the same thing, or what did you think when people were accusing you of the attacker when you went backstage to attend a problem with, I think, with one of your friends?
well, I kind of it kind of figures that people would think that because personally, people thought that because me and Danny had backstage problems, and there was a lot of stuff going on at that time, and I just felt like it was complete. It was funny to me because everybody was pointing the fingers at me whenever I I always if I done something I would tell you. Now if I did it I would laugh. If I felt like if I did it I would own up to it. I'm man enough to do that. And for everybody to go up there and start making false accusations just make themselves look stupid because I I'm known worldwide to be upfront about everything. And if somebody, especially back then, I always made sure, regardless of how my attitude was or whatever, I always was 100% real to everybody. And and for Kurt Angle, I just I don't know what was going through his head or anything, but I felt like sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. I can't really argue with what he did because he just did it, and that's just the way some people are. There's bad people and there's good people. People who's gonna do some crazy things every once in a while, and but if I'd done it, I would have owned up to it right then and there, and I wouldn't have cared. you know, I I wouldn't. I don't think one time in my career. Oh no, I can't really say that. I have run somebody over with a car in another league, but not in WEDF. So I know what it is like to run somebody over, but I owned up to it. you know. So to for that though, you know, everybody wants to talk junk though. Everybody wants to run their mouth backstage. You know, drama starts that way. That's how everybody starts accusing people, and they don't know jack shit. You know what I mean? So
Right.
that's how I feel about that.
But while you were involved at that time in the world title scene on SmackDown, you were also involved in DCO. We're just going to talk about this real briefly since I don't want to really bring up DCO that much. But
I
you were helping your boys, Lil B and Smoke Dawg, get over on DCO. Me, like, it's like the likes of Damage Gauge and Randy's and all them.
yeah, I remember.
Did you ever think that they had a chance in WEDF, or were they just you did a lot to try to get them over, but it just wasn't enough? Do you
Yeah.
helping them out, or
No, they've been my friends for basically all my life, and I always been there for them, and you know I just wanted to see what they have a lot they had a lot they was young, you know, and I wanted them to get out there and try to make a name for themselves, but I noticed one thing. I had to help them get to that next, you know, I had to try to help them, you know, get to that next level. But at a certain point of that whole thing, I noticed that they really wasn't ready for that whole thing. It was kind of my fault because I put them in that predicament so fast and everything else. But it's a learning experience. They all learn a thing or two, you know. And I really don't regret it. They don't regret it. They can probably tell you themselves one day that they don't regret it because they got to learn a lot. And it don't matter if you get a chance like that. You can't let it waste. You know, you just gotta enjoy it to the fullest and learn while you're doing it. That's the way I learned over the years. I go into a match. You know, I go into a match. Okay, um, the plus in this match, I get to know what this dude's about. I know I get to see what kind of move set he got, and I get to study him in the match. So the next match, I'll be much more smarter when it comes to that guy, and I can finish him off faster.
right? So a little bit after DCO and your problems over on uh, management and problems, well, certain problems with that, you found yourself released for certain problems. Did you ever? You were at a down point. How were you able to dig down deep within yourself and come back like the way you did?
Well, it's kind of pretty simple, really. Um, I went back. You know, I went back to my hometown, and I went back to my training facility, and I started training. And you know, it's all about keeping yourself positive. Because if you put all that negative pressure on yourself, you're gonna fall. You're gonna fall just like a lot of people do. Because a lot of people go into this business and they put too much pressure on themselves and they die out quick. They just vanish, poof. And I felt like as long as I could stay positive, and as long as I could knew my work ethic, and I knew my fans had faith in me. I knew they would come back. One thing I knew. I always knew they would come back if they saw me putting in effort in what I was doing. And I knew all I had to do was just be myself and just keep on being me and doing everything I could, and that's what I did. And I feel I'm proud of I'm actually I even surprised myself in certain points because I didn't at some points. Now it is difficult because you especially how much all that stuff that was going on and everything else, and in the backstage and everything else before while the stuff was going on. I heard all kinds of stuff, and I I had to keep that out of my mind because if I because it as I said, if you keep that stuff in your mind, it'll destroy you quick. And you can't let the negative stuff get to you, especially when you're trying to build your way back up. You just gotta keep doing what you're doing, and work with who you can. And
Right. And you're not the one that never stay down either.
no, I'm crazy like that. It don't really matter what kind of match you put me at. If you want to, if you think you can destroy me, that's what I went and joined the after all that stuff happened, and I started building my way back up. I was in quite a few other leagues, and I went through hell. I went through hell in a bunch of matches, but I always kept my spirits high, and I always was like, I just keep on working. If I keep on working, everybody come back. All I gotta do is stay positive. Just keep on being me. Be 100% real. Don't be nobody else but yourself. Don't try to put up no front. Don't let nobody put you down, because you starting to build your way back up. All you gotta do is just go out there. And I started learning things. That's whenever I really started adapting to my brawling ability, because I actually feel like I started learning more whenever I was on the break. And I actually learned a lot from a lot of people, and I felt I could use brawling ability to my advantage, and more than what I did in the past, and that actually proved worthy of me, because as you've seen in my past, ever since I adapted to that, I win a lot more than I did back then, and I won a lot back then, but I I could I can do just about anything basically. Whether it's the acid splash off the top rope, or it's a powerful punch, or if it's the acid to the face, or something like that. I always got something up my sleeve where I can always pull out, and it's all comes from the knowledge of being in the ring, and you learn stuff from watching people. And I had, as I said, I had a lot of time, a lot of downtime before I started getting back up there. But I feel, as long as as long as you learn from everybody, that you can always improve, and you can always get back to the top. As long as you got confidence in yourself, it don't matter about anybody. It don't matter about haters. It don't matter about who's your fans. You can't concentrate on that. You gotta concentrate on what you do. If you concentrate on what everybody else is doing and not yourself, then that's when you'll be your downfall.
Right. So now this is a little off topic, but my next question is, how did your finishing moves come to be, like such as the acid splash and the SKO?
Well, the acid splash, everything I do, I sampled off other people. Like the acid splash is basically, I went and I got this idea of I was watching I seen it RVD do it, and I felt like I could put my own twist to it, and 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 that's the way that was born, because I felt like, and I get this whole thing about acid. I don't even, I can't even remember how I came up with that really. Uh, I think it's because I was smoking so much back then. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
uh, um, I just feel like I'm gonna call this the acid splash, and that sounds good. And it turned out people like the name. It grew
You
on
threatened.
people.
You threatened
I'm
to.
glad it did.
You threatened to give them a bucket of your acid, didn't you?
Uh, yeah, I remember that. Then with the acid mist, I got that from because I always remember watching wrestling on TV, and I seen Tajiri use the mist, and I always thought in the back of my mind, I was like, that would be useful in a match, because nobody would expect that coming from me. And I was like, I'm gonna start doing that, and I'm gonna drop them on their head, and that's how the SKO was born. The smoke out. People don't know that though. People don't, because for a long time I just called it the SKO, and I didn't reveal no details about what the real name of it was. But it was actually called a smoke out. But I just put S, the K, and the S. I mean the S and the K out of smoke, and just put the O out of out, and made SKO.
So it doesn't stand for Smokey Keith Orton, really.
Nah, Nah.
the smokeout.
Most people thought that back then because of Randy Orton and all that other stuff. But I wasn't trying to.
I actually didn't know that. That was actually a good point to bring up. The smokeout.
Yeah, because everybody thought I was ripping off Randy Orton's RKO name, but it was far from that.
Right. So my next question to you is: eventually, you came back into the WEDF. You got back in the. You were actually entered as a surprise entered in the Royal Rumble match, but that wasn't come to be because you were attacked by Cody Rhodes and another attempt to hold you down. Now, what were you thinking there when Cody Rhodes attacked you and cost you a chance at competing in the Rumble?
Well, at first I didn't really know who it was because I was getting ready to come out, and I remember I was just outside the ramp, right before you enter into the match, and I remember the next thing I know, I got hit from behind, and it was hard. It had to be still a pipe or something because I could feel it. I know when somebody hits me with something, and next thing I know, I blacked out, and I woke up and everything was just done, and I was just like, "What the fuck?" You know, there wasn't really nothing I could do about it. Uh, from then on, though, I felt like Cody Rhodes. I seen what he had to say, and it didn't make no sense to me. He tried to say that I was a waste of a spot, and he deserved the spot. He kept whining and whining and whining, and I just felt like if this dude wants to try to prove a point, I just came back, but you know what, I go I this dude wants to have a problem with me, and I ain't gonna back down from no challenge. If somebody wants to try to attack me or whatever, I'm gonna answer back basically.
Right.
And Cody Rhodes kept on talking shit, so I stood up and did something about it, and that's whenever Ted DiBiase was with him.
But they were claiming
And
that you were holding them down from achieving uh, success in the WEDF for some unknown reason.
yeah, it was just like a slap in the face to me because
And then they didn't want to face you in a match
before
either. When you called them out to a match, they didn't want to face you.
because all they could do was just attack me from behind. They was little baby back bitches.
Pretty
And
much.
I didn't like that. I didn't like that though because I spent all that time and effort building myself back up, and I finally get back, and these motherfuckers want to try to ruin that for me. I felt like I was like, man, I'm gonna put these guys in the place, and if I get hurt in the process, I'm gonna make sure they feel the pain just like I feel the pain, you know, and that's when I just started when I just got pissed off and I told Cody, I was like, you keep on messing with me, I'm gonna fuck you up. And I kept telling them because people think I just talk junk,
You
and
even
they
beat
don't.
DiBiase in a match on episode 158.
Yeah, and Cody Rhodes wants to continue running around acting like he's Mr. Big Shot, and he's still doing that to this day.
I mean, hell, he's voided you till WrestleMania 2. He even said on Saturday Night's Main Event that you were going to have to face Mark Henry in order to face him, and that really wasn't fair because Mark Henry came back and he was on the warpath.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I heard that was a hellacious match. I got to say now that was like one of the roughest matches I ever been in. Where that was, I didn't realize it till then how big Mark Henry was in person. But he's a big motherfucker. He is. I've been in the ring with a lot of people, and tall people, and big people, and I seen things. And this motherfucker came in the ring and just no sold everything I put out there, and I'm just like, damn, what do I have to do? Because you gotta be on Superman type level, especially back then. Mark Henry, as you said, he was on his A game, and you have to be 100% in it. And my mindset was all everywhere else because I have to worry about Cody Rhodes and them coming out, and I have to worry about this big motherfucker in the ring, and I got my ass whooped. I ain't gonna lie. I got my ass whooped. It's a learning experience, though. I take everything out of the ring and in the ring as a learning lesson, so I can be better. And that's how I improve every match. I feel like it, as I said before, I feel like every time you're in the ring, there's another lesson learned. And for people who don't want to learn a lesson, but just wants to be, just want to talk shit and can't back up their words, they ain't gonna learn a damn thing. But continue being a dumbass.
Right. Now, on the road to WrestleMania, you actually you had enough of Legacy's antics, so you eventually said, you know what, I want them in a handicap match at WrestleMania 2. Cole says, no, you're not going to have them unless you compete against them in a tag match, so you're going to have to find a partner, and Michael Cole actually believed that you weren't really going to find a tag partner. So you really didn't have many choices for real, but there was one guy in mind who was in another league who actually was retired at that one point. Can you explain to me why you chose this guy for you to be a partner at WrestleMania 2?
Sure. But the main idea that popped in my head because I was trying to figure out in my head who I could trust, and I gotta admit it popped in my head quite fast actually. It kind of surprised me, and as a matter of fact. But I looked at everything in the beginning. I was like, who's available? Who can I trust? Who do I think is the best possible fit? That would guarantee, that I got somebody that could actually have my back instead of just sitting there. And then I thought about it because I was in this league called RCW for a long time, and I had some battles with the Wu Tang man. But me and him was friends for a long time, and I always felt like I could trust him, especially if it was in a tag match, because I was in quite a few tag matches with him previous. And the main mindset going in choosing him was I took a chance, because he wasn't signed with the roster, and I'm actually quite proud of him how far he has come so far since he's been here. But the main thing that I was like, I didn't think nothing of it. I didn't know if he was gonna get signed after that or nothing. But I was like, this will be a blockbuster right here. This will shut Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase up quick, fast, and in a hurry when they see a ghost basically retire for almost a year come back. And I'm always about shocking everybody. I'm always about trying to, you know, do something over the top. I'm, I think that's what I'm best known for. Trying to, especially, I felt, Wu Tang Man did so much for RCW, and
Right.
I felt like,
And
I felt like he,
you became good friends with him over time too.
yeah, and I felt like, I felt like he could do more. I felt like, if he get given another chance in another league, he could actually showcase his skills to more people. Because him being in a couple league, he was in a couple federations, but not really none that really stick out anymore. So I was just like, all right, I got on the phone with him, and I talked to him for a little bit because he was a little bit skeptical at first because he was retired for a while and he was settled, and I kept talking to him, and I told him the situation, and he's like, you know what, um, I got your back. I ain't gonna let you be in there by yourself like that. I
One
always
more
had your back
match.
for
One more
one
match.
more match. And he didn't give me no indication of whether that would be his only match. Going into the match, I didn't really actually know his future because he still didn't really talk to the owners or nothing like that. It was just me and him,
He was
basically.
really just uncertain of what his career was going to be since he was in retirement for a little bit.
Yeah. And, you know, uh, as I said, though, me and him put on a good show in that WrestleMania, too. That was a hell of a match. And he actually surprised me because it was amazing how fast he adapted to being in the ring. Because as soon as I tagged him in, all I seen him was darting right, left, right, left, right, left.
Like he's
I'm
still
like,
got it. He's still got it.
yeah.
Basically, I actually heard some "You Still Got It" from the WEF fans chanting that to
I
him.
heard I heard it a lot during that show. I was in the moment during that match because I remember what I told myself I was going to do during that match. I even told Cody before the match what I was going to do. I was going to mess up his face.
And during that time, Cody Rhodes was saying he's the best looking superstar in the company, bashing your looks. Not to mention, you were like, "Well, how about I give him a bucket of acid with his face? I wonder if he's going to be talking shit now, right?"
Yeah, but the main thing I wanted to do was I wanted to give him a reality check because people talk is cheap. If you wanna go out here and say, oh, I'm good looking, you better back that shit up. I'm a sexy beast myself, but I at least be a man in the ring. At least put a little fight into it, a little bit of effort. And this dude wants to try to run from me, so I went out after him. Was that a smart choice? It was a risk involved in it. I could have got counted out or something like that. But I felt like, I was going to target it as much as possible. I was going to target him as much as possible and mess up his face and weaken him as much as possible in that matchup. And I felt like, as long as I do that, we got it under hand because I knew Wu-Tang Man and I knew myself and I was comfortable in the ring. So I felt like we had the match in control at times, and there was times where we didn't have it in control. But I felt like most of the time we had it in control, and and when the time came, he slipped up. Cody slipped up. He was trying to be a little bit cocky at the end of that match. I remember it because I was like this in the back of my mind. I was like, this dude really is asking for it. I was like, man, this is over with. I'm gonna end it right here, and I remember batting him. That's when I just like, fuck
Yeah,
it. That's when I was like, fuck it. I'm gonna fuck this dude up, and I ain't gonna worry about consequences or nothing. I'm just gonna finish him off right now, and that's exactly what I did, and I was happy about it. That was a big match for me because that was my first WrestleMania event because I missed out on the first WrestleMania, and I should have been. I felt like I should have been there for the first WrestleMania if it wasn't for all that stuff. And I had a lot of making up to do, and I had a lot of making up to do with the fans because of all that stuff that happened before I left WDF the first time. And I felt like I had a lot of making up to do with them too because everybody had this viewpoint of me being this maniac. You know what I mean? So I felt like if I entertain these fans, that they'll get behind me.
right. But so you just have something more to prove to the WEDF. You want to continue proving that?
Oh yeah, continue. I want to continue to learn. Um, I mean, it's you never can tell about things, cause you can get hurt. Yeah, like right now, I've been hurt. You know what I mean? So anything can happen at any given time. You'll be on a roll, like I was. I was on a roll for a while, and it's amazing how fast things can happen. An injury can happen, and it sets you back. I I personally feel, there's a lot of things that I missed since I've been injured, and I felt like, that I lost the chance for, for a title. I had a shot at the Intercontinental title at the time, and Cody Rhodes came back and messed up my match with at the time I was feuding with as you know, Brock Lesnar, and that's no easy task in itself because Brock Lesnar was on his game,
Yeah, he was.
and I beat him the first match, and he came back and beat me the second match. That was actually, I felt like, going into that third match, Flaming Tables match, I was like, I know what he's gonna do. He's gonna try to use his power, and he's gonna try to weaken me and try to get me out as quick as possible. Because I knew where his mindset was. His mindset was going towards the title already. So I knew if I could take advantage of that, and I thought I had him. I had him. I remember the right before Cody Rhodes came out though. I had him. I had them positioned where I wanted them, and as
Yeah,
soon as
you
I
had
went through,
Lester. You had Lester right where you wanted him.
yeah, I felt like I had it right then.
So
And as
over the
soon as
past couple of months before that, what did you think of that weird music that was playing? Oh, don't.
I, did- I had an idea. It might have been him, but I wasn't really 100% sure. You know, it could have been anybody. You know, you can't really put it on or blame on nobody because I thought he was still hurt. Because I was hearing in the back that he was hurt pretty bad. And I was there. I knew how hurt he was. I seen his face. I did it. So I wouldn't really expected him or that type of music he would come out with. So I was just thinking somebody was just messing with me, and I try to keep it in the back of my head because if you let things like that bother you, it's gonna cost you matches after matches after matches, and you can't let that happen. And that's the reason. That's what cost me in that Brock Lesnar match because I just you know I really wasn't paying attention because I was trying to focus on Brock Lesnar because as I said, that's a tough match in itself.
What was it like being in the ring with Brock Lesnar, knowing that
Ah,
before that he was not really doing much. He was not the Beast wasn't really unleashed for him, and once he lost that match to Ocean Jacks, that kind of woke him up. So you were kind of in the ring with a not as motivated Brock Lesnar.
yeah, he was mad. He's like an animal trapped in the cage, and he gets out of the cage, and he just all over the place, and you can't control him. You can't do anything. You just got to you got to keep focused. You can't be cocky with him because he'll destroy you in a heartbeat. If you try to be cocky, he'll destroy you. You'll be hurt. Your career will be ended over before it starts. If you try to be a rookie and taunt or do something like that. But I felt like as long as I use my quickness in the match and I use my what I learned, I could actually contend with him, and I proved that in the first match with him because he came into that match because I felt it the whole match. He was beat me down pretty good, and I was getting him quite a few times, and I knew that he was going to try to do the L5, and that's when I knew it was the perfect time to slide out of that because I got good for my age. I still got some quickness in me, and I could slide out of moves pretty quickly, and I slid out of that and hit him with my finisher, the SKO, and I pulled out the headset. I remember that match pretty well because I remember hearing it. I could hear the announcers from all the way in the ring. Smokey isn't gonna win. Smokey isn't gonna win. I heard that in my ear the whole time, and that was motivation to me, because in my mind I was like, okay, these suckers don't think I stand a chance, and it's time to step up my level in the game, and show what I learned. And I think I proved a lot of people in that against Brock Lesnar how far I have come since when I first started in WEDF to then.
Right. I mean, you've improved quite a bit in the ring. You were in the ring with the likes of even CM Punk over on SmackDown. Uh, so, what was it like facing the likes of CM Punk and Brock Lesnar? Do you feel like you can get up to their level in the future,
I I
or
believe I
back
can.
or back up to their level?
I believe I can. To be honest with you, it just takes time. As I said, I just got injured, and I feel like I got to prove myself over again. I don't feel like I'm above anybody.
Do you think
I
you're injury prone? Do you think those injuries might hold you down from?
No, 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 no. I personally think it's more motivation for me because it keeps my head level, and I feel like as long as I got a purpose to go out there, it gives me more drive and it gives me more ambition. And it
It
makes me
seems
want to do
like
more.
it just seems like in every match that you have, or mostly every match. Some matches you've lost clean, but a lot of your matches where it's like you lose because being a distraction.
Hmm.
So you've been screwed out a lot.
Yeah, as I
It seems
said
like
before.
everyone has made you a target.
Yeah, as I said before, though, people's gonna hate. People's gonna try to knock me off my pace, but I just keep being me, and I keep doing me, and regardless of what happens in the match, I let the fans know that I'm here and I ain't going nowhere, and I'm gonna put in my 100%, and I'm gonna do what I do, and I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna entertain them, and I'm gonna take a risk, and that's why I'm hurt right now because I took a risk for these fans out here, and I don't regret it one bit. To be honest with you, I don't regret it one bit. That might sound crazy, but I don't, and I'm actually proud of it because I always wanted to do this when I was little, and I feel like every time I go out there, I achieve a goal with my life. So that's what drives me. Everybody in the stands and everybody that cheers for me, everybody that boos for me, everybody, regardless if you hate me or love me, it's all motivation for me because, like facing CM Punk, as you said, CM Punk's he's a tough guy. To beat him, knowing what he is now, makes me more confident coming back into WEDF after this injury because I got the talent to get to the top. But as I said, I gotta build I gotta earn that. I feel
Right.
just go and do my thing, and maybe one day I'll be up there again. But until then, you know what? I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna fight my hardest and I'm gonna do what I need to do and entertain these people, and that's all. That's important to me, and I'm glad to do it. And I'm proud of my fellow Alabama boy, Ocean Jacks, for doing getting where he is in WF. And
What did it feel like to team up with Ocean Jack after all those years and reforming the Bama Boys against Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes?
Well, it was short lived, but regardless of what happened in the match, it was fun because we've been separated for a long time because of he got signed as he was getting signed to WEDF. I got released, so there's a lot of time in between that I had to come back and get back to where I was to be able to tag with him again. But it was a good experience because I really haven't. The only time I ever been in the ring with him was in that collision match, as I was talking about earlier. That was the last time I was in the ring with him before then.
Right.
So it was I could see the development Osh Jax has gotten himself into. He has learned a lot, and that says a lot about me and him because we all learn from our past experiences, and we go and we learn we get better instead of being set in our ways. I feel like as long as you want to learn, as long as you keep your a level head going into it, there's gonna be times where you get an ego and you get a little crazy. That's just normal. We all human. And people who wants to say that they ain't like that, they full of shit because everybody in some way is something like that every now and then because everybody got a temper. Everybody can't be calm forever. Everybody wants to lash out. That's the reason why I like being 100% real with everybody because regardless if what anybody thinks is 100% me, it's not anybody else. It ain't no sugarcoating to it. It's just me being real. And I feel, Osh Jax is the same way, and I got a tremendous amount of respect for him. And amazingly enough, I got a tremendous respect for Mount Icon and a bunch of other people on the roster, like CM Punk, a bunch of other people on the roster. I got a tremendous amount of respect for one guy, Edge, because I've been in the ring with him. I know what could do,
Right.
and I
And
got a tremendous amount of respect for him.
right now, Edge has been trying to wake up Randy Orton. Now we've kind of got a little bit off track here with but anyway, you since you made your return back to SmackDown, you were in the ring with such as Brock Lesnar, Jack Swagger, Zack Ryder, uh, and many others. Tyson Kidd, Evan Bourne. You beat Alberto Del Rio. Um,
That was an interesting match
yeah, I
because
was
he's all submission. You gotta be on your game against him.
right. Um, I mean, you made quite an impact in the WEDF for a while, but those distractions, do you think, were holding you down with the Cody Rhodes situation where he kept playing that music over and over?
Yeah, yeah, but there's always gonna be something. There's always gonna be something trying to knock you back down. He was just trying to get into my head.
He felt well, you know, karma is you know what. because
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes, you gave Cody Rhodes the karma by spitting acid up his face.
Hmm. But he got me though, and I'm paying for. I've been paying for a while now. But I can't say what's going to happen in the future
You even
until
beat
I get
Sheamus.
back.
You even beat Sheamus, the Celtic Warrior, who's been back on a roll.
Yeah, and Sheamus is. Some people look on TV and I think that's a white motherfucker. He is white now, but he's really is tough. He's big. You get in the ring with him,
He's
you just like.
he's the Great White.
Yeah, and he really is like a great white. Really, if especially with his power, and you gotta watch out because he could hit that bro kick at any time. So you gotta keep that in your head. Watch out for this, watch out for that. If you're on the ground, keep your mindset straight and sharp. When you're on the ground, when you're on top rope or anything like that, anything could happen. I learned that from my past experiences, and like with as you said on the King of the Ring back then, whenever I got a little carried away and I went and tried to show off a little bit and I got rolled up.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when you let things go like that. I felt facing this guys like Sheamus and guys like CM Punk and guys like Alberto Del Rio. I felt I learned a lot from them in them matches, and I learned a lot about myself since I was coming back and everything else. I was getting back well known, and I felt like I actually got a shot at doing big things, and that whole thing, it got pretty heated between me and Lesnar, though. It got ugly quick because
Yeah.
we was
Especially
well,
after that John Morrison versus Kofi Kingston match, he approached you. He said, "Come on, bitch, let's go." And then at I believe it's Rebellion after he attacked. Oh, no, not Rebellion, but the show before that, Night of Champions Extreme Rules, where he attacked Ocean Jax after the match, and then you come out and brawl with him again. It was like all over the place. You two hate each other like crazy, and
yeah.
you were really one of the few that could really step toe to toe with Brock Lesnar at that time until Brock Lesnar suddenly got re-energized. Now, do you think you could really step in the ring now with Brock Lesnar the way he's been taking out people like Ocean Jackson, The Undertaker?
I can't really say if I could. I believe I could. I could believe if I put my mind to it, I could face against really anybody that I put my as long as I can keep my mind sharp in the ring, and regardless if I win or lose, I just go out there and I do my best. But I feel like I had his number quite a few times, regardless of how he acts. It's all a mind thing when you're in the ring, and regardless of how somebody acts, they're still the same person, and regardless of what kind of attitude they are, they're still the same person. They still got the same flaws. They still got the same, injury injury things and everything else. So you just gotta go in your mindset, not how hot they are or or whatever. You just gotta go in the ring, and put it all on the line. You can't just be safe, because if you be safe, you'll be over with before it's even started. So you gotta be aggressive. You gotta put power into your move set. You gotta do a lot of things you normally don't do. You gotta take a lot more chances. I feel I could do that. I could still do that to this day, and I feel like coming back. I feel like I can reach. The sky's the limit for me, and I feel like I can't give away what I'm gonna do, because I got so much on my mind. I missed so much time, and I feel like everybody's not gonna be disappointed in me when I come back, because I'm gonna come back with a vengeance. And to everybody out there,
That's a
thanks.
warning to Cody Rhodes, isn't it?
Uh, no comprende.
So, Cody Rhodes is holding that Intercontinental title. He's been trying to bag people up in paper bags because he's basically been saying that they're carrying shame by hiding behind a mask. So, what do you think about Cody Rhodes' actions about trying to bag Rey Mysterio and Sin Cara, and Rey Mysterio coming to Sin Cara's aid?
I think it's basically his own insecurities, because he knows in the back of his mind that he was the same way, and he trying to hate on them because they wear a mask is kind of stupid, because that's their heritage, And I respect that, for him to do that is just a slap in the face to them and everything they work for, and their past. There's a lot of people who, believe that's what they believe. They don't believe in anything else. They can't go without that mask because it's heritage.
Right.
And, and it's like you want to be picking on them. Time is coming. Time is gonna come when shit's gonna go down, and you're gonna be the one laying on the ground, bloody again.
So basically, karma will be coming his way again.
Yeah, but I can't. I'm revealing too much about my plans, but you karma's a bitch, and somebody's got to pay. Somebody's got. I feel like I lost a lot of time here in WDF for being injured. And I felt like although it was my fault because I had opportunity, but I felt like
What do you think? What did you get injured on? Did you take a bad fall, or just too beaten up, or just too many nagging injuries?
I landed wrong when I jumped. I remember this one move. I was going for a jump down, and I landed wrong and hit my shoulder.
I mean, I bet it sucks as a performer to where you want to compete, but they're telling you, the doctors are telling you, you can't compete till you're ready to
Yeah.
help your career. How does it feel as a competitor?
What, to be injured?
Yeah, and where you can't get in that ring.
Well, it's kind of makes you. It's a helpless kind of feeling because you're in the back in your mind. You like I feel like I could go out there, but in another thing is you got to think about it, because every time you get in the ring you risk your career. And if I would have went out, if I would have disobeyed the orders of the doctors and everything else, I could have my career could have ended quick. And especially how aggressive I am, because I'm hard headed and arrogant, and that's the reason why I gotta listen to myself sometimes, because that's why I learned. I gotta listen to myself more, because if I let my wild crazy self go, then my career will be over with. And because I got a bunch of injuries in the past, and I push the envelope sometimes, but I feel like it's a helpless feeling because I worked so hard to get back up to where I was, and I got all them victories, and I felt like I was at the point where I was at I was gonna make more of a name for myself in WDL, because I admit I was pretty much at the top before, but I could I feel like I'm way better than I was then. I feel like I can contribute more, and not just I feel I can push, I can help people out,
Yeah.
and I always been that way though. I always like helping new talent, and I felt like whenever I remember whenever Suspect got signed, and we had that match.
Oh yeah.
That match made. I believe I actually. I knew I lost that match, but I felt like I actually won the match in a way because he actually got known after that
Well,
match.
at that time though, you were getting a little frustrated because you lost to people like Suspect, and you're
Yeah,
like, "What am I doing? I'm being Mr. Nice Guy. It's not getting me anywhere."
yeah, yeah.
So,
That was just me second guessing.
but anyway, my next question to you is that uh, who would you like to face in the future? Who would you like to face in the future, like superstar wise, like you
Well,
haven't faced before?
Well, it can be kind of surprising, but I'll go ahead and name it. One guy I really like the face is I actually like to face Randy Orton. I really would, because I feel like he got a temper on him too, and he got a good aggressive streak on him like I do too. So we got a lot of stuff in common, and I feel like we can put on a good match, and we can go all out. Nothing holding us back, nothing. Just me and him going at it, and this clash. RKO versus SKO. Who win? But
Well,
that's my dream match.
would you ever like to get in the ring with people like Zack Starr, or maybe Danny Jackpot again, or even Osha Jax or Wu Tang Man?
I, it'd be interesting to see. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind facing everybody. It all depends on the situation. If if they want to fight, I ain't gonna argue with it. If Zack Starr wants to fight, wants to try to make a name for himself, he can try. I'll be like, come on, let's go. You step in the ring, kid. You know, uh, I ain't scared of a challenge. Osha Jax, he's on top of his game, but I'm not. I ain't scared of him though. I I
You've known
know.
him for years, competing
Yeah,
in like GWA and weren't you in OCL? I think.
yeah, yeah. And he was in a bunch of other leagues, uh, GWA and a bunch of other federations. But I basically feel, Osha Jax, he's a very talented individual, and I feel like, it. As long as you can entertain the fans, I like entertaining the fans, and Osha Jax likes doing that too. So I feel like, if me and him got in the ring, we can make fireworks. And that's the same thing with everybody, like Matt Icon, like Zack Starr, like Randy Orton, like
Evan
Edge,
O'Shea.
even Evan O'Shea. He's still kind of new, but I watched him. I watched ECCW for a long time, and and there's times where he was on a winning streak and he wouldn't lose, and it just shows you how much motivation and how hungry Wu Tang Man is, how hungry he is. The trying to make a name for themselves, and you got to be on top of your game because you can be replaced just like a snap of a finger, and you got to watch out because there's always somebody wanting to get that advantage. So you gotta keep your mind. As I said, you got to keep being yourself. You can't stray away from being yourself. And as long as you do that, you can accomplish anything. It don't matter how big you are, how small you are, or nothing. As long as you go out there and you give it your all, win or lose, draw, whatever, it don't matter. You go out there and you give it your heart, and these fans will appreciate it and make you a better person for it, and make you learn a lot, and make your next match even better. And I learned that's what made me even better because in my matches when I came back, as I was saying, against Alberto Del Rio, I felt at times, he had my number, but I remember all the matches I was in, and I remember all the submission people I faced, and I knew exactly what I had to avoid, and and I knew he would try to concentrate on that, and that's when I could use my brawling ability to my advantage. So I knew what to do in that matchup, and I have to thank a lot of people for that because I suffered a lot of losses, but I learned a lot, and that's what helps me today and every day.
Right. So, what are some of your other goals? Would you like to become an Intercontinental Champion for the first time, or maybe even move up later down the road?
Actually, there's a lot of things I want to do. It don't necessarily got to be for a title. There's a lot of things I feel like I gotta make up for. I felt like I've been letting these fans down by being injured so much. And I feel like I can make a difference, and I could go for titles, and I can show these people that I still got it. And because most people think I'm basically I get injured too much, and I'm getting a little bit older. But you know what? I see it this way. It's all getting older is all a mind thing. As long as if you want to feel old, you'll be old. But if you want to feel young, you can be 80 freaking years old. But you can act like you're freaking 30 or 20. Freaking, I act like I'm freaking the same age every year. It don't matter. I act the same age. Just keep on and keep on and keep on, keep on. I don't give a fuck, motherfucker. I'm Smokey. Macaroni head, motherfucker. You want some? Come get some, motherfucker.
And well, you can't see him right now. You'll be able to see him soon. He'll be cleared for action real soon. This is interview segment with Smokey. Um, is there anything else you'd like to add to this interview?
Well, I just like to thank all the fans for supporting me through the years, and I'm hoping y'all stay tuned when I come back. I hope I entertain y'all when I come back. And that's about it.
All right.
I appreciate being on here with you.
All right. For Smokey, this is the voice of the WEDF. We hope you enjoyed this episode 4 of WEDF Inside the Ropes. we hope to have more interviews because we still have the likes of Danny Jackpot, Zach Starr, and Evan O'Shea, and hopefully maybe we can get the suspect on here for an interview segment. So for Smokey, this is Frank Dog here. If we can say also butts, we will end this right now.
Also butts.
All right. We will see you later. Good
Peace.
night.
Also buds.